My question is, will the Atlanta Hawks regret the Dejounte Murray trade? And I thought about this last night because I watched parts of the Bucks versus Hawks game. It was kind of like a snooze fest for most of the time, and then the Hawks went on a run, I believe, late in the second half, third quarter, fourth quarter. I kind of tuned out after the Bucks were up by a large margin, I think after the second quarter. But anyways, I thought about this during the game when I watched it, that would the Hawks regret trading for Dejounte Murray? Because the expectations was by trading for Dejounte Murray that he was going to take them to another level, at least make them a top four team in the East. But when you look at the standings, you see that the Atlanta Hawks are, I believe they're in ninth place right now in the Eastern Conference. I'm just going to pull up the standings right now and let's look at them. So currently they're 19 and 22. So they're ninth place in the East. And sure, they can still go to the playoffs, but will they climb up to be a top four team this year? I highly doubt it. If I could bet against them to be a top four seed, I would. I don't see them climbing up the standings the way it is right now. I think this trade will bite them in the ass come the end of the season, especially if they are a lottery team. Because think about it, you gave away a lottery pick for Dejounte Murray, essentially. Was that trade-off really worth it? And I think it adds injury to, well, I would say insult to injury if that lottery pick that they gave up nets the Spurs Victor Wembanyama, whatever his name is, Victor. If the Spurs get Victor due to getting that lottery pick from the Hawks, I think that would just be egg on their faces, basically. Just you gave away Dejounte Murray essentially for Victor if that happened. Granted, that's a very small chance. I think if the lottery was today, the Hawks most likely would get the 14th pick of the draft, but still, that's still pretty bad. Just that you gave up a shot at Victor, even though it's a small percentage, probably, I don't know, 2-3% chance, but still, you just never know. So I'm just thinking about it. If the Spurs somehow get Victor through the Hawks lottery pick, this is if things stay the way they are, the Hawks miss the playoffs. I think there'll be a lot of regrets by the Hawks. I would also say that to me, it looks like DeJounte has regressed from what he was last year in San Antonio. That I felt he was a better all-around player in San Antonio last year. His playmaking to me had improved tremendously. Last year in San Antonio, he was averaging 9.2 assists. This year, he's averaging only 6.1. And it just makes you wonder, like, what happened? Like, just a year ago, it just seemed like he had become a much better playmaker. Sure, he was never going to be like the second coming of Steve Nash or John Stockton when it came to being a playmaker, but it had improved a lot where the Spurs could run the offense through him. So this year, it's just regressed. I think it's regressed probably for a combination of a few reasons. Nate McMillan, I don't think runs the offense through him, or I don't know who he runs it through because I haven't watched many Hawks games this year. So that could be the issue. Also, I feel DeJounte does not have a fear of Nate McMillan like he did at Pop. So he kind of feels like just the handcuffs have been taken off of him. Whereas in San Antonio, he probably felt he was handcuffed because he couldn't do whatever he wanted, but it was actually to his benefit. As you see this year, his stats are down in every major category, I would say. His scoring is down by a point. His field goal percentage has dropped from 46 to 44 overall from the field. To me, that's putrid. I always feel to be effective, especially if you're a perimeter player, you should be shooting 45 or above. Even his steals have gone down. So he went from 2 steals a game last year to 1.7. So I think in the long run, the Hawks are going to probably end up regretting this trade, especially if they give up a lottery pick to the Spurs. Even if it's only the 14th pick, a lottery pick is still a lottery pick, especially in a strong draft, which this upcoming draft is being hyped up to be. You could get a really quality rotation player that could be in your 8-man rotation, and you basically gave that up for nothing. So that's how I feel about this.